Good evening. Today is Tuesday or Wednesday. Actually, I do not know the date today. It is late. It's 10:40. Actually, it says right here on my computer. Good evening. It's Wednesday, August the 6th, 2025. I haven't made one of these videos in a long time, but this is like a vlog. Tonight, we're gonna make a vlog of current events and stuff in my studio, in my um, art practices, and stuff I've been learning and want to share with you guys. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I encourage you to. I talk a lot about music. I'm in my recording studio right now. It's really dark. Lights are off. I like to keep I like to keep the lights down. Well, it's almost 11 o'clock tonight. As you can see, I have a lot of stuff here. Um, if you are new to the channel, I am a musician, artist. I am a fine art major, graduate, musician. I have been playing music since I was 12, 13 years old. I play guitar, I play bass. Most recently, I am learning how to play drums, and I'm getting very into it right now. I've been having a couple of weeks of lots of drumming, playing a lot of hip hop and um, Michael Jackson records over and over, getting really into playing grooves and learning about fills. So this is my studio. I got Batman up there. I got a few portraits. These are books I've been reading, and these are the main reason why I'm making this video. I want to talk about these two books particularly, and stuff I've been buying. I've been I got back into art when I was a child. I've mentioned this in other videos. Uh, I came back into art around 2006. I drew when I was a kid. I was really into it. My parents knew I was going to be an artist, and eventually something happened when we moved to Los Angeles. I moved back to Bogota about 20 years ago, and my coming back to art has a lot to do with my culture and coming back to my roots, and coming back home and remembering a lot of things about my childhood. So in LA, I went to MI. I studied music, Hollywood, and during high school, I was really infatuated by art, but I was really into guitar, and I had everything. All my energy was I had everything set up so that I could, give everything to the guitar, and I did. I got really into guitar. I got really into recording. I learned a lot about making records and playing the guitar, the electric guitar. So I want to make a video about books I've been reading. This is going to be an art video. If if anybody who is interested in maybe making art covers or getting back into comic books. I used to buy comic books back in Los Angeles. I lived in South Bay in the Torrance area, and I don't remember when I got into comic books. I do remember I think I was like 11 or 12, and me and my friend would go to a comic book. We would look for these comic book stores around the South Bay area. This was like Torrance. I can't remember what year it was, but I was like in the sixth grade. No, not in the sixth grade. I was in yeah, I would think I was around the sixth, seventh grade. I'm sorry, no. I was like in fourth grade. I think I was around in fourth grade. I can't remember how old I was. Anyways, this is back in South Bay, California. we would go to comic book stores, and I was getting a lot of Image comics. My favorite superhero back then was Superman, and I was getting a lot of Superman comic books. Um, and I don't know. I think I was expecting to become a collector, um, and actually like make a lot of money, um, saving up and getting these number one comics, number one issues, and making money. Possibly turning it into a business. And I really envied these comic book owners, and I loved going into comic book stores, the rows of boxes and the sound of plastic. Um, all the comics being shuffled around. Anyways, I was really, really into comic books, and I really loved. I did not get into drawing again. I did know. I remembered that I was when I was a child. I did love to draw, but I didn't get in. I didn't get into comic book drawing. I really envied. I don't know if there's this comic book author back in Trent. He's the creator of Creed. I got I used to I got that first comic book, the Creed, the first issue of Creed. There was a couple of covers back then. It was like the coolest thing. Being able to draw was a huge thing, and I didn't know how to do it. I think I gave it up when I was like 2 or 3 years old. Maybe even later, maybe 4 or 5, and we moved to Los Angeles. And I gave it up because I don't know, I thought I I think it had to do with my parents separating and me moving. But I mean, it wasn't so much that, but it's just me growing up, and kids, they tend to move into things. I moved into video games, and so, well, this is a long story. This is gonna be a long video. Um, so I loved comic books back when I was in third, fourth grade, fourth or fifth grade, and we would go with my friend and get comic books. Anyways, me and my mom remarried. Me and my mom, my mom remarried, and she uh, she had another son, my brother, who uh, was born in Torrance. We lived in Torrance for a few months, and then we moved we moved out of Torrance and into Santa Monica. And in Santa Monica, there was the school that I was going to had a comic book store across the street. It just happened to be there, and it was right there. It was such a coincidence. And I walked into it like 3 or 4 times. And in one of these, walking into one of these situations, I saw this book, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. And I saw it behind the counter, and I thought it was interesting. And something pulled me away from it. I didn't think that I was ready to maybe start drawing again. I don't know. I just put it off very quickly. But I did see this at a very young age. I remember seeing this cover, and I don't know. I think that comic books. Um, well, when I was looking at this, I thought that comic books were very interesting. But since we moved, I think it was the change, just changing. I was growing up, and I was changing, and I was developing, and I guess I started getting into girls, and then getting into girls made it a lot harder because I moved again. So maybe having a girlfriend or having any friends at all was very difficult. So when I saw this, I put it off for a couple of weeks, and then um, I made new friends. Um, and this is very interesting because um, a lot of us were these new friends. A lot of us were into comic books, but somehow I didn't want them to know that I was into comics because I mean I liked anime, and actually no, they introduced me to anime, but I did like comic books. I told them, yeah, no, I have some comics. I did start collecting, but as I was making new friends, I was also turning into a young man, an adolescent, and I started really giving my energy into becoming a boy, and I really wanted to becoming a boy, becoming a man, and and stop the idea of stopping become the idea of stopping being a boy, being childish, and getting into comic books, because comic books in some um what do we call this, how do we say this, stereotype that comic books are for geeks, and anyone who reads comics and collects comics is a geek and childish, and a nerd, a geek, all these stereotypes were really turning me off from comic books. Anyways, so I did not get the book. I didn't get this book. So I got into other stuff. I got into being outdoors. I got into sports. I got into music, heavily into music. I loved the guitar, and I really devoted myself into becoming a musician and a guitar player. So well, I did that. And back in 2006, I got back into drawing, and I got the Bern Hogarth's dynamic figure drawing because my friend had that. He was in high school. He had it, and he took. I think he took an art class, and he was really getting good at drawing the figure. So I came to Colombia. I came to Bogota, and I started going to school. And then I all of a sudden I had the idea to get back into drawing. So, anyways, a lot of things happened during that time. And um, a year ago, I watched Stan Lee and John Buscema's video on on YouTube about about this book. They basically are explaining everything in the book, and then I really got into wanting to get this. This is my hard copy. I have a PDF of it on my computer, and I really got. The last year I've really been developing a vocabulary back into comic books. I got a lot of. I went to Comic Con here in Bogota. That's Will's Portacio. I'll speak about that right now. I got a lot of comic books. I got a lot of notebooks. I'm doing a lot of my fine art thing still. This is a drawing, a pencil drawing of Ido Meleo, La Iliada. This is from the Iliad, Homer's Iliad. It's turning out pretty good. I'm reworking it and reworking it. I want to get it as nice as I can. Anyways, that's a Will's Portacio. I really like Will's Portacio's inking. I think I like the dark ambience, and it's really, really, really cool. Vampires and claws and stuff. This is number two. I'm really studying number one right now. I have the first four. This is two and three. This is three and four. I'll speak about this right now. I got a lot of new comic books. So I'm back into comic books. It's been a year, and I've been taking the challenge of getting becoming a Marvel artist, becoming really good at understanding the figure as all the Marvel greats. The Marvel. I also got this other one. I can't find. Here it is. Um, I got this little Avengers book. It's a Taschin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Tastian. I really love this editor, book editor, editorial. I love the books they make on art, everything. I think the paper they use is excellent, and the information within it is, this is old Avengers comic book. It's got Buscema, it's got Kirby, Jack Kirby, John Buscema, Neil Adams is in here. Um, Anyways, these are the it has the picture of the Marvel, what is that called? The Marvel, um, I'm I can't find the word, but Marvel, how it used to look in the back in the day. These are the Marvel, these are the Marvel artists. I guess these are the new kids that are getting into comic books, and maybe they're kids, and all the big artists. Marvel, this is how Marvel started, and when Marvel was beginning. Anyways, this is a great book. If you guys want to, this is called The Little Book of the Avengers. This is a Tastian. This is really cool. I love this. It's got really awesome. It's got Jack Kirby art, which is, I guess it's really hard. Look, this is the first Stan Lee when he was young. There's Stan Lee right there. Jack Kirby is, where's Jack Kirby? Right here. There's Jack Kirby right there. Anyway, so I've been getting into reading. These are all other really well-known Marvel people from Marvel. Anyway, so I took the challenge upon, I took the challenge, and I made it a task to see how I can, how well I can I could be how well I can develop this. I've been drawing academically, like as you can see, I have a lot of stuff up there. I've been drawing academically for the past. The one on the left over here is not mine. There's a, if you guys are following my Instagram, there's an illustrator, Antonio. I don't know his last name. I do know it, but I can't remember it right now. That's he came here to Bogota and he drew that, and he let me have it. I think that's cool. This is it's an illustration. You can see it. You can't see it because of my hand. I keep the lights off sometimes because I can focus on the computer. This is a Greek philosopher. I can't remember his name right now. I have this is a $1 bill, George Washington. That's an Italian, one of the Riace found sculptures. That is my uncle, Alfonso. He passed away recently. It was really painful for my family to lose him, and this was one of the pictures that was sent to me during his passing. And I did it very. I guess I did it very. I did very quickly, and I did it with a lot of energy and with a lot of pigments, and sloppily put together, because I don't know, I didn't feel like being very careful. I just felt like expressing myself, and he's one of my dear uncles, and I love him very much. Very special. And this is a head from this stuff is basically pigment. These Pulsa markers. This is marker. This is a lot of pen ink, and this is thick marker. And this paper is like I don't know what kind of paper this is. I had worked some special paintings, acrylic. It's got an acrylic base, so it's really thick, and it absorbs marker very well. But I worked these surfaces. The paper is not for marker, but I applied some special acrylic on it so that the marker would hold. And that's another Greek sculpture, famous. This is all European stuff. Here is my uncle. The $1 bill. I'll show you this comic book right now. This is a Batman, David Finch, Tom King comic book, DC. This is one of my favorite movies and books, Dracula. This is Lucy Westenra. I really love this movie, and I've been loving making these illustrations, illustrations from the book. Antonio Ilustrando. This is from Instagram. He's a Spanish illustrator from Spain. He came here a year ago, or maybe more than a year ago, a year and a half ago, or something like that. And he gave us like a little mini class on illustration and talking about his profile as an artist and how he goes about his work. It's a special illustration. Personally, he drew it, and he gave it. He gave it. There was only like a few of us, and I guess he was able to give me one, so I took one. Anyways, back to the Marvel way. So anyways, I'm trying to express a lot very quickly. And so it's been a year that I took this challenge, and I got this on Amazon a year ago, and I've been carefully reading it. I love to take care of my books, and I wash my hands every time I touch one of these books. I plan to have this and use it for the rest of my life. So I really want to take care of it and conserve its appearance. It's a very beautiful book. I think it's great. Stan Lee did a great job on explaining everything. So I've been dedicating the last few months to really learning how to become a Marvel artist. It's not easy. I've like I said, I'm a fine art academic. I graduated from fine art, and I mean I can draw. I can do a lot of my fine art experiments. I can do a lot of portraiture, human figure. I know some anatomy. I love to use photo. This is from the Chosen TV series from Netflix. Not TV, Netflix and Prime Video right now. The story of Jesus Christ. It's a beautiful. Anybody who is a Catholic or Christian, I recommend that you watch it. It is a beautiful series on the life of Jesus Christ. It's very impressive the way they really um, got to explaining Jesus's life, not just not just the crucifixion, but the stuff that he did. There's a lot of comedy also in the series. They do a lot of traveling with the apostles. I have Peter. I have some digital not prints. I have some digital, well, yeah, I guess prints, you could say, digital prints on Instagram of Matthew, of Philip, of Andrew, and of a crucified Jesus Christ. But it's not part of it's not the chosen one. And I'm just doing these because I've been really inspired by them. I think they've really given themselves to creating this series, and I really like I didn't know Jesus. I mean, I knew Jesus did all these things, but I didn't know. You never, you never put these things in context, because when you read the Bible, reading the Bible is very quickly, right? Things happen in weeks and months, and when you're watching him actually perform a miracle on the chosen, it's very what is that called? It takes your breath away. It really does, and it really affects it really affected me, and it's sometimes it's very what is it called, it's beautiful. um you know if you're a believer, if you believe in Jesus, and not in the sense of, well, I was born a Catholic, so I mean, I have a different interpretation of the whole thing, but I don't believe in Jesus because he's going to save me, or because he's the savior of the world, or the your typical stereotype reasons why people believe in Jesus, but just as like a person who existed on earth, a person who dedicated his life to changing the world, and making it a better place. That's how I interpret it. I know a lot of people say, Jesus, oh, Jesus saved my life, and they're not lying, but I think the way that they're explaining it is very off-putting, and this is very, very inspirational. This The Chosen, I think it's very great. Well, this is Mother Mary. This is a portrait of her. Anyways, so I do a lot of fine art processes. I do a lot of video. I do a lot of photography. Um, I'm sorry, excuse the lighting. Excuse the lighting. Here, I'll show you some of my photographs. I'm selling prints of my work. Um, this is a photograph. I'm also a photographer. I took these pictures of Bogota, the street. Not the street, the streets in Bogota. I spent like a year taking pictures on the street. This was a long time ago, but I'm pulling out the archives, and I'm looking at all my photographs, people I meet on the street or I see on the street. This was a guy. He was like a kid. He was really young, and he tied, I think it was a battery to his bicycle, and he was running basically like a little stereo, and I don't know how he was carrying I don't know how he carried those drums, but I'm assuming he had a way of doing it on that bike. While I was passing, he was playing like 80s fusion, and he was jamming on top of 80s fusion. And I thought it was really, really inspirational that this guy was out there. It was like, I don't know, like 9, 10 o'clock at night. And he was just sitting there on the street, risking his life, playing music. And I don't know, it was really giving himself to art and to music. It was really, really inspirational. This is a photograph. So I'm selling this one. I'm selling these prints. I did not talk to him because I did not want to disturb him. I think I've seen him a few times. I don't know if maybe it's him, maybe it's somebody else, but I've never spoken to him, and I don't know. I don't know who he is, but I kind of I have a great memory of that instance. This is all my stuff, my studio stuff. I have a lot of stuff to go. I'm gonna make videos. I'm gonna start pulling stuff out of here and just making, like, 10-minute videos on. This is a soldering machine, and this is an oscilloscope. This is analog. This is a digital soldering machine. I plan to do a lot of soldering in the future. This is solder. This is the solder I use. Anyways. So back to the Marvel Way. I was working on getting really good at this. So there's this conception of illustration versus fine art. You think one is better than the other, or that some has advantages, one has disadvantages, etc., etc., etc. And my thesis was based on drawing. So this is the reason why I came back to comic books, because I realized that I was skipping comic books and I was skipping illustration and what is this called? Cartoons. And my thesis was on drawing, and I think drawing is very important. It's the basis of all art, and any kind of artifact that is available, or part of our art history is based on drawing. So I make a lot of emphasis on drawing. So I came back to comic books also because I was very passionate about comic books when I was a young kid. Um, so I've been really learning this, and I've read it over and over, and I've read it not 100 times. I've read it over and over. Like, I'll read something and then I'll read it again and then I'll read it again, and I just really like the way it's written. I like the way it's laid out. If you don't know how to draw and you're trying to get back into, or you want to get back into drawing, or you think that you're looking for a really good book, even if it's going to be fine art, this is an excellent starting point. I think this is one of a classic learning how to draw book. This is definitely a classic inspirational um, starting point. If you do not know how to draw, this is a great way to start. This is also another good book. I have a PDF, a copy of it on my. I'm planning to get a hard copy of it, like one of these, soon from Amazon. It's a Christopher Hart book. Let me see if I've actually explained this. No, back to this really quick. So I've been doing this for a year, and what do I think about this? I think that there's like hidden. This is really maybe a little bit superstitious, but there's stuff in here that is untapped, that I think is still untapped within the artist that people are inside. I'm not explaining that correctly. There's a way it's laid out for you that you can start, right? But I think that, for example, the way I'm interpreting this is that if you have to come back to drawing Spider-Man. If you're going to start drawing something, get used to drawing Spider-Man. If you want to get good at this and really find out what the kinks and the secrets and the methodology between all these pages, it's Superman. You go back to Superman and you learn to draw, and you look at Superman, the way he's formed, the way he's the dynamic figure that he is, and then you forget about color and you forget about inking. You just really concentrate on penciling. And there's something about redrawing Spider-Man that helps you learn how to draw. Like, if you start wanting to know how to draw like a professional, this is a very excellent way of doing it. So what I'm saying is that there's like hidden stuff within the, excuse me, there's hidden stuff within the book in terms of things that you can develop within yourself. If you just go through the pages across the book, you're gonna learn how to draw. But there's something about redrawing Spider-Man and redrawing Spider-Man and redrawing Spider-Man. You're gonna have to redo it anyway. So like, by choosing one superhero and choosing Spider-Man, you're going to see why this is a good book and why it's a great book and why it's a great choice for you to learn. There's also other artists in here. There's also other books that are being talked about in this book. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna. I've been utilizing it, and I keep rereading this last part. It's this is online. If you guys want it, if you guys want this book, it's online. You just download the PDF. I think it's really great. It says, the more you draw, the better you'll be, and we want you to be the best. Even if you're not going to be a comic book artist, it says, sketch everything you see around you. Sketch your friends, your enemies, relatives, strangers, anyone and everyone. Become as facile with a pencil, pen, or brush, as you are with a knife and fork. The more you draw, the better you'll be. And we want you to be the best. So even if you're not going to be a comic book artist, this book is excellent. This thing it shows you how to draw. It shows you how to become an illustrator, how to become a draftsman. Um, this is another thing that I didn't notice until recently, is that it talks about the things you need at the beginning. The very beginning is what do you need? You need pencils, you need brushes, you need ink. And this in particular is one of the reasons this is a great book, because it talks about rulers, it talks about compass, it talks about the brush. If you want to become a painter also, you can really learn about painting through this book. Not necessarily become, if you want to learn how to draw, if you want to learn how to paint like maybe John Singer Sargent, this probably isn't the best book, but it is a very good book if you're starting. If you're starting, you have to know how to draw first, and you have to know about line, about texture, about dimension, about perspective, and it's all here. And this is a really good book. I completely highly recommend this. I regret not getting this sooner. I regret not getting this book sooner. When I first saw it back when I was living in Santa Monica, and I saw it that day, and I was like in the comic book store, should I get this book? I'm not ready to get this book. This is probably a difficult read, and it's not. You can be 10 years old and really... What's something there? I think David Finch has a video on YouTube. David Finch has a video on YouTube about how to start with this book, and how you start is basically how it's shown here. Get into the figure, get into drawing the figure, and especially get into drawing Spider-Man. If you want to learn how to use this book, learn to draw Spider-Man. How do you learn how to draw Spider-Man? Spider-Man is in here a few times. Get a Spider-Man comic book. I have a few here. I've been copying Ryan Notley's work. This is the one I found. I bought used comic books at Comic-Con here in Bogota, in Colombia. There's a Comic-Con in Bogota. Ryan Notley's work. Ryan Notley, this stuff is is really cool. It's really modern. I think the way he interprets line and the figure is very refreshing. It's like a new, fresh Marvel artist. Actually, I think he's working for Image now, but his stuff is really, really great. I think his stuff is really like refreshing. The way he, I don't know who colors this stuff, but the color, I really think the way he draws Spider-Man in particular. I know he has that Invisible series. I have one of the Invisible books, but I think Spider-Man in particular is one of his great. I think it's an achievement. One of Ryan's achievement. I don't know who's. This is in Colombia. We have Panini. This is where kids get. I lost the book. Here it is. This is where kids get comic books. It's a brand. It's a P. It looks like an F, but it's a P. It's a P, right? Yeah, it's a P. Panini Comics Colombia. Anyways, I think Ryan Notley's stuff is. I think I've copied all the full figures here. I did that stuff on Bristol paper. I even did this one. This is my final attempt at, not my final attempt, my final very good, my first very good inked drawing. I copied this one. Yeah, Ryan. I think Ryan Notley's work is very, very, very awesome. It's very cool. I mean, I haven't been to LA in 20 years, 20 or something years. Well, maybe less, maybe like 15. 15 or something like that, maybe 12, 13 years. I haven't been to LA, so I used a lot of 90s lingo. Cool, awesome, and I guess rad. No, I copied this one. This is Peter Parker with his girlfriend. I'm guessing. I haven't read it. I, I, I love the storytelling in comic books, but when I open these things up, I love to. I'm very enveloped by the drawing and the art and the color, and I just have to keep getting. Most recently, I keep getting comic books because I'm building a library of reference. I copied this one. I copied this one. And I copied this one too, but I eliminated the guy in the back. Really learning how to draw Spider-Man. This so if you're gonna get this one, you can also get Ryan Otley's Spider-Man books. I copied this one. I think I copied this one. I think I didn't copy it because of the feet. So oh yeah, I did. I copied the torso. I drew him. I drew him up to his knees. Oh, like a portrait. I did a portrait of Spider-Man. I copied that one. I didn't copy this one, but I really like. I like the way he. I like these. It's almost like he squares off the jawline. He squares off the shoulders. He does a lot of squaring and uses a lot of straight lines. This is really, really cool. I really like Ryan's work, Ryan Otley. I'm gonna try to show his invisible book. Well, anyways, I have one of the invisible books, and there's a sketchbook in the back, and it's really crazy how much work goes into creating one of these comic books. I didn't know. I mean, not until I got this and I started really studying Spider-Man that I realized how hard it was to be a comic book artist. So, there's a lot of respect to all of these comic book artists. I copied this one. So I copied this one. Anything that was like a full figure, I recommend you start with full figures. You can copy this stuff, and this is really great to copy, but if you're gonna begin and you want to get really good, look for full figured, everything from hands to feet, a complete. There's also another technique I saw David Finch talk about, is that if you can't find the torso, maybe I really like this particular pose, and you can't find the excuse me, I'm trying to fix the light. And you can't find the torso, and you can't see the torso, look for another torso within the comic book. Maybe from a different superhero. It's more of a secret that I recently learned. But Spider-Man, I really got this one. I copied this one. So yeah, I got into Spider-Man thanks to this book. And I've been learning how great and how authentic that I copied this one, obviously. How great and authentic Marvel, Stan Lee and John Buscema, their book. It's a really authentic thing. It's being able to communicate the importance of learning how to draw and the methodology between it. I think I copied this one too. I just didn't have. I just took Peter Parker out of the picture, and it's just him with a couple of bricks. And I copied Greg Land's work. I've never heard of him, but I really like his Spider-Man. I like Greg's stuff too. I didn't copy much. It looks like something Ryan Otley would draw. Guy with a mustache. I think I copied this one. I copied this one. I think I copied this one. I started copying it. I didn't copy it. No, I copied this one. Yeah, I did. I did copy that one. But it's not Greg Land. It's somebody else. Well, it looks like it's somebody else. I think I copied this one. I copied this one too, but I turned the comic book around. I think I was gonna copy this one, but I didn't copy it because I couldn't see the other leg, so I didn't know the trick. That recent David Finch video, I saw it. I think I woke up. I fell asleep and I woke up and he said you can copy body parts from other superheroes. Let's see. This is going to be a long video. So I'm back into comic books. I copied this one. So I'm back into comic books. And I copied this one. So I'm back. I copied that one. So I'm back into comic books. I had a little collection. I don't know if I still have it in LA somewhere. And I never opened these books. I copied this one too. I don't think this is. Oh, this is Greg Land. This is Greg Land. I think it doesn't. There's no signature here. Anyways. Yep. This is a great Spider-Man. This was really hard to draw because his torso is really squashed. So it looked like he was. I drew him and he looked like he was fat. If you look at it hard enough, and you look at his torso, he does look like he's gained weight. If you focus your eye on his torso, it's not easy to draw that. But yeah, no, he's heavy. He's heavy here. Yeah, he's a superhero. He's a strong, muscular being. Anyways, so I got back into comic books, and this is basically my me saying that this thing is incredible. I should have gotten this earlier. I can't talk enough about this book. I love it. I love the way it's presented. I love the pages. I love John Buscema's. I know John Buscema did a lot of the artwork here. It's really great. I think I plan to get hard copies of John Buscema's drawings. I know there's a book on John Buscema's. I really think his stuff is excellent. It's very classic, and I know I've heard a lot about Jack Kirby, and Jack Kirby talks a lot about knowing how to do this first, right? Before you start working the figure out, which is really, I guess, it's a classic methodology, something he created. Like, learn how to make cylinders, squares, and that's how you're going to develop the torso and limbs. If you try to do something else before that, you're just going to end up with a very sloppy figure. But yeah, this book is very classic. I'm very happy that I have it. I love it. I'm. It's been a year, and I look at it every day. And I look at it every single day. Maybe the first couple of months I just read it a couple times, but most recently I've been looking at it every day, and really getting it into my bloodstream. And I love this book. It talks about inking, and it's really great. I've been getting into inking. Anyway, so how to draw comics the Marvel way. It sounds cliche. Maybe it sounds cliche. Maybe it sounds like everybody knows that it's a great book, but I can't talk enough about the book. It's it's what, $20? I don't know how much it is now. It's $17.99, $18. I can't think of spending $18 better than buying How to Draw Comics. It's made me a better artist. I love to draw, and I've really found myself loving to draw illustration, cartoon. thanks to that book. Okay, back to what I was saying about this book. I found it online. It's a PDF. There's a lot of Christopher Hart, Christopher Hart, Hart. If you are interested in maybe not comic books but cartoons, this is an excellent book. I This is where I am right now. I bookmarked this. Actually, I didn't bookmark it. It's just like automatically opens up where I left it. Um, I love the systematic approach to the book. It shows you that drawing is a system. So you start somewhere, you start with something, and then you have an end result. For example, this tells you if you're going to start drawing faces, you're going to draw the eyes, the nose, and then the mouth. If you try to do the nose, the mouth, and then the eyes, it's going to look complete. It's going to look crooked. It's going to look different. It's not going to look. There's a science to all of this, and it's explained here. I think this is one of my favorite books right now. Modern Cartooning: Essential Techniques for Drawing Today's Popular Cartoons. Christopher Hart. See if I can maybe open this up and Fuente, just so people can see it. He has a lot of books on comic books too. I think I've seen some stuff on Christopher Hart. So I've seen some stuff. I've seen some stuff on YouTube book reviews. He has like 4 or 5 how to draw comics. There's Edge Comics, how to draw comic book. There's Simplified Anatomy. There is how to draw cartoons, how to draw faces. Anyways, he is a great author. He has really great books. I highly recommend his books. I think they're great. I think they're a great investment. Even if you know how to draw, getting one of these books is very eye-opening, and it really shows you how simplicity in art is very important. Learning how to do simple things. Actually, let me show you the cover so you guys can see it. This is a great book. This is a PDF of somebody put it up on. I'm going to get the hard copy. I'm going to get my own hard copy of this. This is why I'm sharing this. I'm going to purchase this eventually this year, sometime this year. I'm going to, if not for, maybe for Christmas. A great book. I love the way it's structured. I love the way he explains things. There's a lot of systematic approach. It's a systematic approach to. It's not just. It looks very childish. But this is a very systematic. There's a science. There's a science to drawing cartoons, and I think he explains it well in this book. Okay, I'm also reading this book. I hope to. I don't know. I hope to find it somewhere in hard copy. It's a comic book crash course. I found this online. It's a PDF. Comics crash course. It says a start to finish guide to creating dynamic comics. There's an author, Andy Smith. He talks about he's also the author of Drawing Dynamic Comics. Hopefully, if there's still print, if those books are still in print, if there's, even if I have to get it used, I want to get one of those Andy Smith books. Those are really interesting. This is a Vincent Giarano. It's a very, I think it's very informative and How do we say this? Um, it's like a forgiving way of learning how to draw. Like there's a lot of um, how do I say? I mean, it's not it's not Image Comics. It's not, well, actually, maybe it is. Maybe it is Image Comics. I don't know. It's um, there's a style. There's a specific style, and it looks very robotic, and it looks very like put together by parts, which is very that's what's so great about it. Which is very cool. I think it's great. There's a great artist, Dan Fraga. He's in here somewhere. I don't know if he's drawing some of this stuff. I'm sure he is. Um, I know he drew. I don't remember what he drew. It was Cable or Black Flag. I think that was his comic book. It talks basically. It's the same thing. The Marvel. It's like it's a Marvel. It's the Marvel way, but it's modernized. There's talks about tracing with a light box, stencils, blue LEDs. Yeah, it's modernized. It's a splash page. The same thing with the Marvel way. It talks about the splash page, which is like the introduction to the comic book. Um, but I think this is what's great about it. It talks about this is modern, like modern approach to it's the Marvel way basically, but it's got a little bit more uh, on 3D, um, on adding the 3D, the roundness to anything that you're drawing. It's more modern stuff like robots and outer space. I really liked. I did this exercise. I thought it was interesting. I mean, I've done it all the way up to where I showed you. I've been doing all this. I drew this stuff. This is really cool. It talks a lot about drawing things. Uh, it still comes down to basic shapes. It's always basic stuff, and it's usually done very big, and then simple shapes, and then develop smaller shapes within those. For example, the front lights on the submarine are just a bunch of cylinders inside a larger cylinder. So it's simplifying stuff for you. Anyways, I'm not gonna go through this because I want you guys to, if you guys are really interested in it. Um, Comics Crash Course. I think I've been parallel to the Marvel way. I've been reading it parallel to it. I've been reading it. I've read it all the way up to where I'm studying the female. I really love this chapter. I'm gonna go through it again. Basic drawing skills. I've done all these exercises. This is very cool. The way he explains about light source. I finally got this stuff. I really like the rendering effect that some of these new guys are. What's his name? De La Rosa. De La Rosa. Oh my, jeez, it's like Danny Earls and Rob Willis. I'm looking at all this stuff on Instagram, and I'm like completely mesmerized by the way these renderings are these modern comic book artists are really um, really you know evolving the comic book format. It's really excellent. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was interesting how it talks about what is it, obviously like the Marvel way, men have wide shoulders. And there was something in particular that I thought it was interesting. Notice where the wrist cuts across. Yeah, notice where the wrist. Always remember that the wrist is around right above the pelvic. Right, it's like in between the private and the waist. It's around, usually around there. Depending on, we're not all the same size. We're all different. But this is a comic book standard that comics are a certain way. Women are Usually, there's a science to this whole thing. Men's muscles are, you can make them up. You can, sort of have an idea. When muscles move, they change shape. Women use, usually in comic books, less lines are applied because they look a certain way. They look a lot softer. If you add lines, it looks a lot harder, like rocks. Less lines make them look. So I'm here right now, basically here. This is really interesting because it shows you that even if you try to redraw something, it will never be the same as the first. It'll never be the same as the first time you drew it. There's um, something about art in general. Things are never things. Sometimes you're surprised by the lines you make. I started reading this, but then I'm not gonna skip this. But this is really interesting on the planes of the face. I really like this. This is but I haven't read it yet, but so I'm here and I'm really enjoying it. This is a really long book. It's 132 pages. But I guess having the Marvel way and having this, and I'm reading them both parallel, I think it's really helped me develop. And having comic books, this is a special. I'm going to talk about this artist right now, Jeff Matsuda. Having this is there's a mentality when you're starting to learn how to draw, is that I want my things to look as cool as, for example, if you are 12, 13 years old today, and you're looking at maybe Danny Earl's penciling work, it looks impossible. I'm saying this from a perspective of, I'm an academic art student from fine art, um, uh, from a fine art perspective, coming back into comic books and saying that comics are not easy to draw. Comics are very hard to draw. It's very laborious, and it requires a lot of skill and draftsmanship. And if you look at, for example, Danny Earls, I was trying to explain Danny Earls, maybe De La Rosa. You're looking at these newer comic book artists, and it's trying to catch up to these guys is it's almost impossible. Um, they're very highly skilled at penciling, and their pencil work is impeccable. If you want to be as good as these new artists, you have to be very good at penciling. So I've been developing a lot of pencil work, and I've been recopying Spider-Man and recopying Spider-Man because how to draw comics the Marvel way is showing me how to draw more like John Buscema, which is until I get the classics, until I get Jack Kirby, until I get John Buscema, I'm gonna start to understand how to do what these guys are doing. But yeah, I've never seen any Rob Willis. I don't own any Rob Willis comic books, or maybe David Finch is probably one of my newer favorite comic book artists. There's David Finch, there's Danny Earls, there's Rob Willis. There is De La Rosa. I saw his work the other day, and I've never seen this. He's bending panels, like he's 3Ding panels within the comic book, which is freaking crazy, man. I saw that and I was like, whoa, this is really cool. Um, who else? There's so many new artists and so much new talent. Obviously, Todd McFarlane, his stuff is incredible. I have the Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, the one that where he I'm trying to show you everything at once. So I got this one. I've been reading it. I haven't been drawing it. I've been reading it. I'm going to draw this soon because I have to get back into Spider-Man. Obviously, I've been inking and I've been coming up with my own stuff because I've been learning this Vincent. His name Vincent Girano. Here, let's pronounce your name correctly. I know Dan Fraga's stuff is in here, which is really cool. I think Dan Fraga has this really cool. I'm pretty sure it looks like Dan drew this stuff. Looks similar to some stuff that he would do. I don't know. I'm not very familiar with Dan's work. I know that through a friend. I know that he's very much into like guns and weaponry and comics crash course. Weapon in comics, was it like futuristic guns and futuristic like this anatomy that's completely, you know, muscles, that it's like it's almost like looking at Arnold Schwarzenegger inside the comic book. I've also been doing that. I've been following the advice. It says look at wrestling magazines, look at bodybuilding stuff, bodybuilding videos. So I've been doing that. Okay, so I got so I've been talking about new stuff that I've been getting. Todd McFarlane. I'm gonna start copying this stuff soon. Um, Please excuse the camera. I got this one. This is in Spanish. I got this here in Colombia. Planeta Comic. Todd McFarlane. This new stuff. I think it's Javier Fernandez. This stuff is wicked. I think it's really cool. I really like it. I don't have time to show everything, so obviously Ryan Otley stuff. I got this one. I asked the guy where, because all of them were laid out, and I said, which one has a really good fight scene? Because I've heard really good stuff about the fighting in Invincible, like the blood and the actual action fighting and stuff. He said this one's got a really good fight duel. So I got this and I looked at it, and it's got this really, really incredible sketchbook in the back. It's got Ryan's this guy is wicked cool. I don't know his name. I haven't read this yet. This stuff. This thing is these sketches, the way he lays out the paper and the way he lays out the stuff. Anyways, this is something I've been studying too. I really, really like Ryan's work. I have a bunch of new comic books. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to show everything. Captain America. This is Marvel. Since I'm studying Marvel right now, so then I got a Captain America. I want to get good at drawing Captain America. I want to get good at drawing Thor. I got this one recently. This is a new Thor. This is another Ryan Otley, the Hulk. Ryan Otley. It's still in sealed, packaged. I'm not opening these up yet until I really finish reading, really get the Marvel way. And no, I'm gonna open them up eventually, but I really, really want to get good at reading the instructions, and then I start doing this stuff. I'm already doing it. I'm already making up characters and coming up with my own stuff, which is the idea, right? Venom. I want to get really good at drawing Venom. Wolverine. This is new. I got this at Panini. This is new. These are new comic books. I got this one. I have the Todd McFarlane, that big one, but I wanted to get this one because I really like the Spider-Man. I think can right now I'm just really into Spider-Man. He's got really cool stuff to like when you're drawing Spider-Man, you're learning a lot about drawing, not just Spider-Man. You're learning a lot about. And then I tried to draw, for example, Superman, and it's not the same. It's not like I love Superman, and I guess he is one of my favorite superheroes, or is still my number one superhero. Actually, right now it's Batman. Batman is my I think Batman right now is my favorite superhero. But drawing Superman is not the same as drawing Spider-Man. When you draw Spider-Man, you really get into learning about drawing. These are old comic books. These are used. I got a lot of used. I got Avengers. This is an X-Men. This is really old, and I think these comic books are from Mexico. There's comic book artists or anyways, used comic books from I'm guessing from the 90s. I'm really getting back into comic books, and I think these are really excellent. This is X-Men. This is the old DC stuff. Anyways, I don't want to show you everything. This is Batman Arkham. This is like Batman with really long, those really long bat ears. It's like there's no wrong way to actually draw Batman, but I mean, there's good Batmans, and I mean, it's a matter of perspective. These are used comic books, but I buy these because they're really showing me how to draw. Like this stuff is something that you would find maybe in one of these books showing you how to draw. It may be one of those Christopher Hart books or Andy Smith, the dynamic how to draw dynamic comics. It's showing you the figure and showing you the chest, the legs, the arms, and the head, the neck. It all has a particular structure. The X-Men, the Avengers, Batman. I love Batman. I think I didn't really get into Batman until recently. Like the last 10 years, I've been really liking. I got this one because I think I can't have enough Spider-Man. So I bought a lot of comic books. These are used. I really like these distortions on the original superhero, like Sam Keith, the Max type stuff. I plan on doing. I want to get really good at this stuff, so I bought a lot. I made a huge investment. I spent a lot of in the last few weeks. I've spent a lot of money on comic books. Because I really want to get it. I really want to get the anatomy, and I really want to get really, really good at pulling these things out of my imagination through constant repetition. So that's a good one. It's hopefully you guys can find it in PDF. So modern cartooning is really good, and this is Vincent Giorano. Let's write his name down. Vincent Giorano. Vincent Giorano. Andy Smith he's got a channel on YouTube. He has a book called how to draw dynamic comics. I plan on getting sometime. So why am I getting all these books? Like if I have the Marvel way, why do I have to get what? And I have this. It's not. It's an investment that you're really taking upon yourself. Comics crash course. Why am I getting all this? If you have one, you just need one. You ultimately only just need one book. You just need one book. But I am an academic, and I love collecting books. And part of my job as an academic is really knowing absolutely everything on the subject of drawing. So I want to see how some things work and how some things don't. If you're just gonna make comic books, at 12, 13 years old, you just need How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. You just need one book, or you can get one of these online, and that's all you need, and you don't need to look back, and all you have to do is just use one book as reference. But I'm using this. I'm using my time, the thing about being an academic, about having a thesis on drawing, and I need to really get all this information in, and I need to really develop a new thesis on drawing in general and the import. I didn't know comic books were so hard and so. I mean, I thought after what is it, I don't know, six or something years in art academy, I would have been able to draw easily. I would have been able to draw Spider-Man very easily, but it's not. There's a science to all of this. Jeff Matsuda. I did not like this comic book the first time I saw it. I was relentless to get it. I'm like, oh, it doesn't look like something I would. But I really, this is one of my favorite comic books right now because it looks very dry and it looks very expressive. The stuff within the comic book, it's not like Ryan Otley stuff, which is really smooth and slick and new Image comic. This is like old. It looks like 90s, like a comic book that you've never heard of. But these figures are, uh, at times you think they're crudely drawn. Look at this stuff. Look at this guy right here. It looks more cartoon than comic book, but I love it. I think it's great. I think when I started really learning, reading Christopher Hart's book on modern cartooning, is when I realized how important it was. Simplicity, like you have to go back to the figure. No, not the human anatomy, but you have to go back to cartooning, and you have to go back to the fact that this isn't real. It's a comic book. It's not photograph, which is great. I love Jeff Matsuda's work. I think it's excellent. I think this is one of my favorite new comic book artists. Well, he's not a new comic book artist, but I really use him as reference. Like if I'm doing something, I'm building something. I'm doing something right now on my sketchbook, and I'm using the Crash Course, which is Vincent Giorano's stuff, and I'm looking at my own stuff. I'm inking this thing right now, and I'm putting off a lot of errors. Like if I think something is wrong, like I'm doing, this is the Crash Course exercises. If I'm doing something wrong, like I leave it because there's something about it that it's appealing. So it's building big muscles and big structures. And anyways, um, okay. So Jeff Matsuda this is Sabretooth, but look at Sabretooth. He does not look like Sabretooth. He looks like an alien version of what Sabretooth. But look at those muscles. They look like I don't know. They look really sharp. Like when do muscles look these sharp? But it's a comic book. It's made up. It's a lot of fun. I always forget. Sometimes I forget that this is well, this is what's reminding me the part that this is supposed to be fun and entertaining. This is entertainment. It's not real. It's just this, for example. I looked at it and I thought it was the ugliest thing I saw, but then I was like, no, wait, it is pretty cool. Like he knows it's not accurate. It's completely off. I mean, when do you ever fly in the air and and put one leg, which looks like it's really far away from the other one, and when do your legs ever look this squared? That's why I thought it was so great. I was like, wait a minute, this is good. This is so. Anyways, Jeff Matsuda is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite comic books right now. I'm really getting into this style. I found this recently at a used comic book place. It's a used bookstore. This is Rob Liefeld. I have a lot of I used to buy in comic books when I was in South Bay, Torrance. I used to get Bad Rock. I used to get I had a lot of Image comics. I used to get number one issues of. I did not get. Well, I think I did get Wildcats. I think I did have one, but mainly it was Bad Rock, and there's something else. Anyways, I don't know too much about Rob's work, except of what I've recently been looking at Instagram and Bloodpool. That's about it. But this stuff has like a 50-page sketchbook in the back, and it has lots of Rob Liefeld's work. There's like 50 pages of sketches, and I think this is the coolest thing. I love this, like, what is it, artist series, where there's no color yet. It's just basically drawing in ink. I have yet to look at this in detail, and I did look at the process. I have a like a question. I think I don't know if I'm asking myself the questions. Look at these pinups. These are excellent. Artist series. Anyways, I look at the stuff and I'm really liking this sketchbook here. All these sketches. This is so basically I got this book basically was because of that. I have yet to read the story. I do like the figures. Rob has his own particular structure and anatomy. It's like his own thing. Heads are particularly rounded in a certain way. This is a cool scene, or I really dig this. So comic books have been my thing for the last few weeks. I've been completely obsessed with comic books, and I feel really sad that I stopped collecting. This is one I haven't really looked at, Witchblade. I saw it, and the reason I got it was because it was at a really good price. I think I got it used. I don't know, it was like $5. And there's a lot of digital. There's a lot of digital stuff here. Like if you can't really tell on the phone, on the camera phone, but there's a lot of digital enhancement and a lot of computer stuff, which I thought was interesting. I've never seen a comic book use this much computer. And I like it. I like the space it utilizes. I like the color. And there's stuff on. I haven't read it. There's stuff here on like medieval stuff, like dragons, and I think it's this one. May not be this one. Yeah, look, like this stuff in particular. So I've learned a lot about the figure, but I've also learned that the figure it's a complete interpretation of of the human anatomy. Like you can really distort. That's the thing about comic books, which is really fun. You can really distort the figure. This is a Spanish. This is really old. You can tell because it's been completely. This is used comic, 5 pesos. This is like $1. I got this for $1, but I love this comic book. It's Spanish editorial, Planeta de Agostini. Spanish artist is my favorite right now. One of my favorites. Really, I think I copied one of these figures here. I think I skipped it. I love the inking and I love the figure. I think these artists, the artist on this is excellent draftsmanship. I copied that figure. It's great. It's great. It's a great comic book. I love it. I love that it's in black and white, which makes it's like almost like a artist series. This stuff is excellent. Spanish comic book. Who's the artist here? I think it's it doesn't really say. Pacheco Marin Fonteriz. Oh, it's Fonteriz. If I'm saying it right. I could be saying it wrong. This is another one. I think it's like the Matsuda one. I think the figures are crudely drawn, but they're not. It's the style. It's very hard. It's very unique, and I think it's very entertaining. I love the copy stuff from here too. Beast is in here, which is one of my favorite superheroes. Here he is, part of the X-Men. It's like really, really particular way of drawing. Maybe it's also the coloring of this, but I like it. Beast is. So if you can find a used comic book store, look at this thing. This is excellent. Old comic. It's like an old way, but it's really. This looks a lot like a Andy Smith book. What is it? The First Man. Excellent. I think it's great. Learning a lot. Wills Portacio is one of my favorite artists right now too. Is his vampires or monsters are really inspirational. I think the way he inks or whoever's inking this stuff is like overdoing it with the ink, but I think it's great. It's perfect. It's excellent. It's really good. It's really dark and mystical. It's got a really really dark. I love the drawing. Wills Portacio's drawing is excellent. I think it's really really cool. His anatomy, his anatomy is excellent. I think his anatomy, even though it's like a that's superhero, but it's I think it's excellent. I think it's really cool. Another great artist, obviously, is Jim Lee. I have one or two Jim Lee comic books. It's really hard to find Jim Lee here in Colombia because he's such a sought after. I think all his comic books usually, like stay in the United States. We get some stuff here. But Wills Portacio, I think, is excellent. Excellent. I have the first 4 Wetworks. This is the first one. The second one is around here somewhere. Oh, here it is. No, it's well, I have the first 4. I have 2, 3, and 2. I have 2, 3, and 4. And this is the Batman where that poster I bought this Batman and it came with this poster. David Finch is one of my favorite draftsmen right now. Well, I think comic book artist. He's gonna. I think he's gonna release, or he's about to release. What is it? Skinbreaker, Jawbreaker. The new. It's a new comic book, and it looks really cool. But I think David Finch's stuff is really cool. This is DC Comics, which is way different than Marvel, but I'm learning a lot from this stuff too. I'm giving myself a lot of. It looks like David has a lot of David Finch's way of approaching this. It's very skillful. Like he really wants to respect anatomy and style. Like he won't come up with something and he won't say that he won't come up with something that he won't know exactly what it is. I don't know if that makes any sense. I think Jeff Matsuda's stuff is excellent because it looks like he's improvising on certain things, but his improvisations are excellent. I don't think they're not inferior to this stuff. This is just respecting a structure, a specific structure. And like the way his figure drawing is really excellent. David Finch's stuff. The backgrounds are also excellent. The color. Catwoman. But yeah. Anyways, David Finch's approach to his new comic that's coming out now looks really cool. So So yeah, so my approach basically is I am in fine art and I paint and I um, focus a lot on charcoal drawings. I love sculpture and completely um, I completely approach my style, or not my style, my way of it's like I utilize all my academic tools to analyze and do start a new project. So I'm using the comic book as a starting point, and I did not know that comics were this hard to draw, but they are. And this was the very first thing I got this back in when I was in art school, because I was doing a lot of acrylic painting and I was going into oil painting. And one of my teachers told me that I had to. He's like, you should check this pop bot, and there's a lot of fine art approach to this as well. There's obviously there's sketching, but it looks like he's using a quill, or he's using what is it called, ink, specific like if you're drawing a comic book ink, using comic book ink to draw, not using a pen, or not using. It's like it's a comic book format, but it's also a lot bigger. And there's oils. There's oil stuff. There's Let me see. This is beautiful. There's a lot of stuff here that's maybe a little bit not for children, but there's the Max and interpretation of it. Andy Warhol. I love this comic book. It's great. It's a big book of a lot of inspirational ideas. I think this stuff is great. Ashley Wood, that's the name of the artist. So yeah, well, I'm approaching all this stuff from a fine art view, where the comic book is being utilized, but there's a lot of theory and space for representing fine art elements. So you're getting space, you're getting the treatment with the materials. Like you're not completely attached to having a superhero drawn specifically the same time all the time. There's an element of experimentation. There's an element of freedom. There's an element of the academic fine art, perspective, where we are using oil, where we're utilizing this stuff, composition, in a very experimental way. This is still a comic book. I mean, it does fall into comic book, but there's but there are elements of maybe photography and this stuff. It's got oil. It's very atmospheric. Maybe it's the size also that's making me really appreciate the complexity of the oil stuff. This is very comic booky. It looks very comic booky because it looks very linear. It has some like the shadowing is very seems to be very academic. But there's also elements of cartoon, which is very beautiful. The way he's coloring this stuff is very simplified. Andy Warhol, obviously, he's a fine art reference. This stuff is really interesting. The way he uses line, it's very simplified and not overworked, which is the opposite of comic books, right? In comic books, you use the line, but then you erase and then you rework the line and then you move and you shift until you get something perfect to the way you want it. And this is completely, it's like free, very linear and spontaneous. And this is why I think, so it's one of my, obviously in fine art, one of my teachers is a professional illustrator and very much into comic book art. And he said, you need to get into stuff like this, because he looked at my work and he knows I like specific artists. He said, "What kind of artists do you like?" So I named a few, and then he said, "Well, you got to get, if you wanna get that kind of if you want to get those kind of results, you're gonna have to get into stuff like this. Eventually, probably into comic books, but I wouldn't go into comic books yet. I would start looking at stuff like this. So I did. I got this book, and then I got into it." And most recently, well, my thing is comic books, because I want to get that comic book edgy, um, perfect illustration. I don't consider myself an illustrator, and I do not consider my emphasis ever as an illustrator. I do consider myself a part of fine art, and um, my my vehicle contains a lot of fine art elements, theory, stuff on color, stuff on form, space, dimension, um, which isn't that very, 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 very different from comic books, because I do utilize the same kind of stuff, but comic books is like it's um, I didn't realize how much effort was put into making a comic book, and it's very interesting. It's not impossible. I From a fine art perspective, I can understand the process a lot easier. And but if you're going to get, if you're wondering, should I maybe you're wondering if you're going to go into school and you want to, should I become a painter, should I become an illustrator? The thing that's going to ultimately figure that out is the type of art that you're into. So you need to make, like, you make a list, more or less like what I'm doing right here. You make a list of the artists you like, the stuff, and you print out stuff that you like and you enjoy, and you sort of evaluate, do I like comic books more, do I like illustration, do I like photography, do I like sculpture, do I like, and then ultimately you will have a better perspective on what it is you want to focus on. So I don't want to make this like I'm only doing this because it's a project. No, I love comic books, and I've been into comic books since I was a kid, and I'm getting back into comic books because it's showing me how to draw again. There's an aspect of drawing, sculpture, maybe this stuff, which is very academic and very important, but you're gonna get something else when you try to do this stuff. um, there's a lot of freedom, there's a lot of imagination, there's a lot of um, it's like this has interpretation, right? I'm interpreting the figure, and I'm interpreting form, and I'm interpreting space. But here it's more like I'm creating it, right? Um, I'm creating humans, and I'm creating the interpretation. I'm creating um, my own world, my own universe, which is very interesting. I really like this one. I like the stuff in the back. This is Will Sportaccio pinups. This is excellent. This is excellent. You can't see because there you go. Really cool demon. Anyways, there's a lot of stuff in here that I saw one of them, and then I just had to get all four because this was at a used bookstore, and I really wanted to. So I really wanted to learn about Portacios because he's in that Stan Lee video with Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld, how to draw comics. This is also Will's Portacio, Wetworks. There's a lot of stuff here. I think it's the fourth book he stops drawing, but there's stuff in there that's still his. Anyways, whoever was into, I like the paneling. I think the paneling is cool. It's still very structured and very much a part of traditional comic book creation. Wait, make sure I didn't bend that page. I was showing you, and then I thought I accidentally bent the page. So this one, I don't know who drew it. Portacio's still in it, but somebody seems to be doing the drawing on this one. This is Billy Dallas Patton and Joel Gomez. Wetworks. Paneling is interesting. I like those wide shots. Fire and a lot of vampire reference. This stuff is really cool. It's an interpretation, a complete interpretation. I'm sorry, not an interpretation, a complete creation of the imagination of a woman demon robot, as opposed to something that's been already created, and I'm interpreting it completely with form and structure. I'm not talking about I'm talking about the specifically the sculptures. Actually, even my uncle. It's a photograph. Somebody took that photograph. Somebody's interpreting the portrait, and they are showing through their interpretation of the picture. There's a creation, right? There's a creation through interpretation, and this is more of there is a creation, and then obviously there is also a universe, more figures, more imagination. Oh, it's a little different. It's a little different, and there's a lot of theory behind this. There's a science, obviously, to creating either one, but I'm very happy about getting back into comic books. So I got a ton of comic books. I showed you a ton of comic books. I went to Comic-Con, and there's also these are Colombian artists. Manga, we like manga here for some reason a lot. I'm not a very huge manga fan, but in Colombia we use a lot of we love manga. We love Japanese art, Japanese, Korean, and he signed it for me. Para Manuel, muchas gracias por el apoyo. This is but I do like to have it. I do enjoy it. I haven't read it yet. I do appreciate the line work and maybe the neighbors are laughing. I do appreciate the line work. Manga has a specific structure also. Making a comic, a manga comic, has its science to it too. This is Rimutoki Pavach. This is another really cool one. I thought it was interesting. I really like. This is closer to Marvel DC. These are the artists. I think it's closer to what a DC comic may have. The figures are very much, but we in Colombia, we have um, we have more of a manga thing. But he's one of the very well. Actually, these five artists are. I didn't see that many DC. This is the only one that I saw that was very DC like. Looks very DC. Um, Great stuff. I read some of this already. I liked it. I thought it was interesting. Story, the storytelling. This is an excellent example. This isn't a book. This isn't a comic book. It's more of a. It's actually a story, a short story, and there's a few pages in here, but it's more of a story. What he's selling here is his storytelling. There's a lot of vulgar talk about. I haven't read it yet, so I excuse me. I think he's from Ecuador. I could be wrong. I think I read it wrong or right. But he has a really particular style, and he wants to show you. He wants to share stories about our culture, Latin American, South American. There's a lot of drinking, a lot of womanizing, a lot of sexual lust and violence. There's really cool art here too. He's an artist, but I think his main focus is storytelling. So he wrote a book and he put a lot of illustrations in here. There's fear. There's a lot of. I think those are cigarette butts. I'm not sure. No, it's like trash something. Yeah, cigarette butts. Anyways, it's a very adult. This is for adults, obviously, but it's a very great way of showing storytelling and in comic books. It has a manga twist to it, but it also has a lot of his own thing. This is another one. I can't remember what they explained the story, but I completely forgot it already. I think they signed this one too. Manuel, muchas gracias. Yeah, it's manga mainly. It's very cool and interesting. I got a lot of more comic books, but I pulled out the ones that I thought it would be more effective. Yeah, in Colombia we love comic books, so comic books are very important here. Anyways, oh yeah, and I'm reading. This is my latest thing. I'm illustrating. I'm doing a lot of illustrations from the Iliad, Homer's Iliad. This book is really cool. I find myself reading one or two pages a day, and it's really hard to really. It's easier if it's just one or two pages. If I try to read a whole chapter, I will not. I will probably get lost and not enjoy it as much. I read one or two pages a day. It's a great book. It's a great book. A lot of war, a lot of stabbing, shooting of arrows, shooting of what are those called? Those big. They're not swords. Um, lots of killing and lots of war. But yeah, so far I like it. I think it's very difficult to understand, but at times it's very difficult to really grasp what's going on. But I think It's a leap forward. I'd probably have to read it again. I think I'm almost halfway, or I'm halfway there. I'm halfway done with it, but I'm getting used to it, and it's a particular cultural European thing. It's very it's written a specific way for a specific culture, and interpret the interpretation of this stuff is very new to me. It's very sophisticated reading, but it's helping me understand very simple things faster, quickly. Maybe somebody in high school reading this will be a little complicated. They won't get it, but it doesn't hurt to have it. It's a great Homer's Iliad. I also have the Odyssey, but I'm still halfway here, so I'm probably gonna finish this and read it again. So I'm not gonna get into the Odyssey yet. And this is one of my all-time favorite movies. So now it's one of my all-time favorite books. I really like this. The book is a lot different than the movie. I think the book is um, so far I didn't know. I really like the beginning. The beginning is very scary. The beginning is very dark and um, horrific. It's very horrific about some guy going into he's working. He's trying to get keep a client happy by going to his home and showing him his loyalty to his business, and it turns out to be a horrific experience where he keeps him locked up in a castle, and this guy's trying to escape the castle, and from one door to the next he sees what is obviously Dracula. um he drains his energy. He's constantly appearing and reappearing. He finds himself in a new room all the time. He'll go into a new room, and all of a sudden doors are shut, and he sees shadows and really scary stuff at the beginning. The middle is more of Lucy getting sick, and the interpretation of looking at her mouth and looking at the way she's developing, and she's turning into this really sick person. I think her in the movie they only show her getting sick, but in the book apparently it's her and her mother. I guess are bitten by Dracula, so he bites both of them, and I guess he um, that part of the book is very slow. There's a lot of exchange of letters, and Mina marries Jonathan Harker. Jonathan Harker is obviously the man who is trapped by Dracula in the beginning. And right now it's just Van Helsing. I'm on Van Helsing befriending Mina. He's um, he's the obviously the Nosferatu expert, and he he's trying to show Mina that trying to talk to Mina about what happened to Lucy, saying that no, there's a demon out here, and she's really scared. She's so they're sending letters between one and the other. Between themselves, they're sending each other letters, and she's learning about this type of demon Dracula, and then she's really scared. And I think I don't know if she's seen him already. I think she's seen him already. I think she's already met him. Yeah, no, yeah, 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 yeah. Most recently, I read that part. I think he shows himself to her, and he looks very young and powerful. Anyways, that part of the book I read. It's an excellent book. It's an excellent book, and it's not one of my favorite books, but it's one of my favorite movies. But I guess the beginning of the book really got me hooked on it, and the sending of the letters is the thing that's probably making it a little slow. But no, it's an excellent book. I love it. I love it. I love the parts in the beginning where Jonathan Harker finds himself in a new room, and he can't seem to leave the castle. And it's a really excellent book. I guess it will be one of my favorite books. But right now, I'm just I'm reading it slowly, 1 or 2 pages a day. So basically, that's it. That's what's been going on in my studio. I've been doing a lot of drumming, and I've been doing um, a lot of this comic books. So I guess that's the video for tonight. There's a lot of new comic book artists on Instagram, and I'm just like completely amazed by. There's I talked about there's Danny Earls stuff. I think if I forget one or two of you guys, I'm sorry, but there's so many of you right now. David Finch has really cool stuff. I'm talking about like penciling and inking. I'm not talking about color because I'm talking about basically what I've been getting into most recently. We got Danny Earls, David Finch. Was it De La Rosa? I think this is wrong, but I can't. I think that's his, or La Rosa. I think it's La Rosa. La Rosa. Something like that. That's his last name. Really excellent comic book artist. Obviously Otley stuff is really cool. Ryan Otley. Let's see. Obviously the classics, Todd McFarlane and Rob Liefeld. I don't know that much about Rob's work. I do like what I see, and I do have Bedrock, and I really got to get back into it. I have that Infinito book and his sketchbook. I got to get into that right now. Todd McFarlane has always been one of my favorite comic book artists because of Spawn. I love Spawn. I think Spawn is a, he's very important, very important superhero of the '90s. I think he's excellent. Let's see. I know I'm forgetting like 20 different comic book people I've been really following. Let me see. There's a lot of stuff on my Instagram page. I'm talking about like penciling and inking. It's just stuff that's just technically it looks very difficult to do. Um, mm, I'm trying to think. There's other stuff like Batman Year One, like right. Um, no, that's yeah. Those are basically for like I look at their work and I just think that it takes so much skill and it takes so much effort. Not necessarily that I could spend 20 hours a day trying to do something like this and it will never get me there. But only years of experience will really help me. Rob Willis is another one. Rob Willis's work is really. Oh, and what's his name? Federico Ricardo. I think this is how you spell it. Federico. Ricardo Federico. An Italian who draws like demon type. There's another one. Most recently, Simone. I forgot these guys are all. It's like two or three Italians, and they're in my Instagram. He draws portraits of obviously Alex Ross. Alex Ross is his coloring is his coloring. It looks like he's not really drawing comics. It's more like he's developing like a new dimension. Like he takes he takes comic books to a fine art, a whole new space. It's almost like cinematic, 3D. Um, I wouldn't even say 3D. I would just say like cinematic classical art. It's really, really, really interesting. Ricardo Federico. I'm sorry if I don't have your name right, but he's an Italian who's been drawing Superman and Batman lately. But his Batman and Superman, they look like demons, and they look really interesting. I really like his approach to comic books. He uses a lot of traditional techniques. Obviously, he has really great pen work, really great brush work. Not pen work. I'm sorry. He uses brush, so it's mainly brush. I'm sorry if I don't have your. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm yawning already. I'm tired. It's a 2 hour video. Okay, guys. So this is my video for tonight. I'm trying to think of some other new guys. There's Thomas Batilli. I think his stuff is cool. But he's more comic, but like traditional comic book. Uh, Sort of like a J. Scott Campbell type of J. Scott Campbell. They're like traditional comic book guys. Um, uh, it's very oriented into the comic book cartoon style, which is really excellent. Um, I love J. Scott Campbell's, obviously Gen 13. I'm a huge Gen 13 fan. I bought a lot of Gen 13 comics. I don't know if they're still in my collection, but um, Gen 13 is an excellent. Wills Portacio, Brandon Choi, Jim Lee. Jim Lee has these drawing videos on YouTube. He shows you how to draw the Joker, Spider Man. If you look at the way he draws Spider Man, that Spider Man video is really, really cool. Um, Jim Lee's a great draftsman and inker. Yeah, I really like Jim Lee's inking. It's really cool. Ryan Benjamin from Proco videos. I really like his. Uh, Obviously, his work ethic. He's very prolific. He draws a lot. You can tell that he's always constantly. He's very 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 dedicated to his work. But if you look at the way he, if like from his drawing to his inking, is very much a Jim Lee approach. I think Ryan Benjamin stuff is cool. Um, what else? I'm sorry if I'm from. There's an English illustrator who has really great videos. His name is Ewan. I think is Ewan. I have a lot. Most of these people are on my Instagram. I'm following them. Ewan something. I forgot. His Instagram is called Ewan again. Ewan again. He's got really cool, cartoony, really thick paintings. Judge Dredd, most recently, I saw this Judge Dredd painting he did. It's really, really cool, really amazing. Very skilled illustrator. I really like his markers, the way he inks. It's really interesting. Um, does a lot of like talking within the video about. It's really funny stuff. It makes me laugh a lot. I talked about Thomas Batilli. Thomas Batilli and J. Scott Campbell are very like cartoon or not cartoon, very comic book, like traditional comic book. John Romita Jr. The from Thomas Batilli. I saw his videos on the Batman Year One. I like the traditional thing he has. He has that traditional comic book approach, which is still really important. And J. Scott Campbell, which is the creator of who's the other guy? Scott Williams. I saw some of his stuff. I really like his inking. Scott Williams. Um, mm, my homework for the past year has been following all these artists and really getting into becoming much better at understanding the comic book language. Let me see if really quickly before it's basically the video. Frank Miller, obviously. Frank Miller. There's a Batman video on all the different kinds of Batman. Paul Pope, David Mazzucchelli, Bruce Timm, Alex Toth, Chris Omni, Samney, Samney, Mike Mignola, Adam Hughes. Oh, and Trent. I can't. Nugent, I think it is. Nugent. I'm sorry if I can't remember everybody's name. Nugent. Maybe I'm wrong. Trent Nugent. Maybe I did write it down. He's the creator of Creed, and he has his own channel. I didn't know he was 17 when he did the Creed, which is very it's really impressive that he created that comic book in high school. Rob Liefeld talks a lot about John Byrne being an influence. I have all these notes here. I want to be really informed about the subject. If you guys want to check out Thomas Petilli, I think I'm spelling your name right. Yeah, Petilli. Is it one L? I think it's one L. Oh, two L's. No, of course. It's two T's, one L. I could be wrong. I was right the first time. I don't know. So Trent Nugent, he has his own channel, and he talks a lot about stuff that he's digital stuff that he's working on right now, which is cool. I hope you Trent Kanuga. I wrote it down. I hope he does Creed again. I think well, actually I won't get it here, so it probably doesn't matter, but to those who have ever seen Creed comic, I haven't read it. I still I had it in the Bart Sears book is also a great. I was looking at Bart Sears. Bart Sears book is. I've been studying all this stuff this past year. Bart Sears, his books on comic book creation are excellent. I plan to get one of those hard copies for myself sometime this year. Within the next couple of years, I'm gonna get the Christopher Hart, Bart Sears, hopefully an Andy Smith, if he has more of those in print. Printing more of those how to draw dynamic comics. Great stuff on YouTube and on the net. Let's see what else we got here. All my notes in my sketchbook. Let's see. Rob Liefeld, Todd McFarlane. Yeah, I don't got to name those already. Like your classic Jim Lee, classic comic book masters. I'm trying to think. Those Christopher Hart books are excellent. For anyone who is wondering how to start, and I don't know if it's Marvel, I don't know if it's DC, I don't know if it's cartoons. Check out those Christopher Hart books. Those are excellent books. I plan on getting one of those for myself, hard copy of those. I think that's it, basically. Really enjoying that crash course, that Vincent Giorano. I'm really enjoying that. It's very informative. It's really cool. Helping me loosen up a little on my figures. The Marvel way, obviously. And I think that's it. I think that's about it. I found a wizard, a wizard article. Has Rob Liefeld's torso creation or something like that, I think, or anatomy. Oh, Wizard magazine. If you guys remember Wizard magazine, I found an article talking about Rob Liefeld and his anatomy, which is completely, obviously created, which is really cool. I think that's it. I think that's it. I think that's it. All right. So that's the video. I don't think I'll be for a while. I won't be talking about comic books, but it's basically what I've been working on. Oh, there's a Rob Liefeld video. He talks about the things like the process of creating comic books, which is you normally need a penciler, a writer, the guy who writes the story. Like these are the parts, and then you set out the plot, the story. Somebody does that. Some other guy does that. There's a scripter, the guy who writes the script. There's inks, and then there's an embellisher who does the last retouching of. So there's a lot of stuff going into comics. It's not just, a couple of guys. Finishes. So first it's a penciler doing all the work, then somebody writes the story. Somebody, I'm assuming, lays it out into the comic book. Somebody writes the script. And actually, I'm not sure. I think I may have gotten something wrong here. 2, 3, 4. That's the order that he presented it in. If it's not in that order, those are the jobs that have to go into making a comic book. I've basically been working on penciling and inking. I've been working on these two things. By reading, I think I'm looking a lot at plots and stories. Maybe not script. Maybe by watching movies, you can probably learn about scripting. Downloading scripts could help, but and then the embellisher, the finishes. I don't know who would probably. I'm assuming it's the main guy, the main person working this stuff out. But yeah, so the last year has been me doing a lot of research, and these are the artists who have helped me understand comic books better. It's the art that has been surrounding me, and a lot of stuff that's been helping me and analyze comic books, read and analyze all this stuff. Okay, so that's the movie. That's the film. That's the video for tonight. Really tired. Um, it's 1 in the morning. It's 1 in the morning. All right, guys. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. I do a lot of analysis on um, the art process of things. I got one of those drawing figures right there, and I think it's interesting that certain things look a certain way, maybe from afar, but once you start really delving into creating something, um, your perspective completely changes. It's not what's one thing to look at a pencil and another to hold it. It's not. It's one thing to um, talk about comic books and actually maybe read a novel or write it. Um, I think it's very important to do research, know what you're talking about. Maybe it helps to maybe take a course, maybe take a class. But since I'm doing this because I've studied fine art and I have my personal interpretation of it. I enjoy comic books with or without knowing anything about art. I used to buy comic books without ever taking an art class. And comic books, just purchasing a comic book for fun, for going into a bookstore and buying a book or purchasing anything, any kind of entertainment, is completely valid. You don't have to be uh, studying. You don't have to be studying a science, or you don't have to be studying, like, I don't need a degree if I want to buy a computer. I don't want to. I don't need to be an engineer if I want to buy a motorcycle. I don't have to, you know, be a veterinarian if I want to get a parakeet, or I want to get a dog or a cat. You just delve into doing these things, and through experience, you develop a lot of information and a lot of research. So, coming back into comic books has been very fruitful in the sense of I've acquired a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of stuff going on in comic cons, and these comic book masters, comic book authors, comic book writers are complete masters at their craft. And I really appreciate all the work that they do. They put stuff on YouTube and really inform everybody on, if you're gonna be create comics, these are the books, these are the steps. So yeah, no, it's a lot of research that I've done this past year. I will be getting hard copies of Bart Sears, and hopefully, I don't know, hopefully in the next couple of years. So just if they ever get to watch this, or I don't know, maybe know about what people are looking at online, know that Christopher Hart books are excellent source of information. Um, this Vincent Giorano book is really, really informative. I really enjoyed it. That Andy Smith, How to Draw Dynamic Comics. I hope to get that also. Wizard magazine, even if you can find a used bookstore and look for Wizard magazine, and you find a wizard, get those. If you're in any way doing or trying to approach things like I'm doing right now, look for used comics, and you will find a lot of great information in these old Wizard magazines. These are great new artists. There's a ton more. I can't. At Bart Sears book. There's a Bart Sears book on drawing comics, which looks really appealing, and I think is really cool. pencils. Okay, so these are basically the comic book jobs that are out there. I've been focusing on pencils and inks. I haven't really been doing inking. Like I'm going in. I'm gonna try to get into inking, or I'm trying to get into penciling at Marvel. Um, I think structurally, I am like I want to be prepared in any case or scenario. What would be the purpose of not approaching it in that manner, right? Like I bought the book. I'm going to try and get really good, and I'm looking at Danny Earl's work and David Finch and Ryan Otley's and La Rosa, and I'm Rob Willis, and I'm completely you know amazed, and I'm just saying if I want to get any good at this, I'm gonna have to probably draw as much as these guys do, which is every 24 hours, 24, every day, every hour, every live and breathe and eat drawing for the next, I don't know, 10 years, because it just looks like it's very hard, it's very difficult to get to the level that these guys are at. um but it's like any it's there's nothing wrong with trying to approach it that way. Like if I were you know going to look for some sort of um uh, let me see, area of production, I would probably go into pencils, because pencils looks like it's the one everybody has to start in. You want to be an inker, you can probably do it, but um, I think that the approach would probably be pencils, and get really good at being a penciler. Even though, I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of people try to do that, every year. They probably send a lot of work into Marvel, and there's nothing wrong with being an independent comic book artist, which is obviously something you have to do if you want to develop any kind of independence. Um, I have my own comic book right now. It's Waffles. it's it's a lot of me goofing around here. I love comic books and I love cartoons, and I think I also like Adult Swim. I think adult comics are an untapped source of energy, where there's a lot of great stuff that could be utilized. It seems like there's a lot of negative stuff towards, obviously, because cartoons are usually related to children, and men who look at comic books at 30, 40 years old. It seems almost absurd, but I think it's stereotypes. Anyways, I was talking about stereotypes earlier, so it's like the faster you get over that stuff, and maybe people you hang out with, start hanging out with the right people, or maybe not even share this stuff. Just or do your thing and do it proudly within your area of work, and you know be happy with who you are. If you like comic books, get it back into comic books. If you like whatever it is that you like, do it because you want to do it, not because somebody told you to do it, or because it's popular or unpopular. Or anyways, I'm back into comic books because I really wanted to get that book, and I saw the Stan Lee and John Buscema on YouTube, and I really wanted to get back into comic books. Um, so I did it for me. I did it for me, and I'm doing all this video. These are vlogs are for me. Maybe 10 or 20 years down the line, I'm gonna say one day I wanted to draw like Danny Earls, and someday I'm going to do. I'm going to have my own um, comic book, like Ryan Otley or Rob Willis, or you know maybe paint like Alex Ross. That's 10, 20 years down the line, but it's something that I'm laying down for me, and I'm doing this for me and only for me, um not because I'm going to get any sort of, huge pay, or I'm going to become rich from it or anything. Um, anyways, that's the video. I've been ranting on for, but it's just, basically I don't think I'm gonna make another video on comic books for a long time. I'm developing a lot of skill, and I'm really wanting to get good at this. So I hopefully one of these in the next few years I'll be I'll have something to show. I have a lot of stuff on my Instagram page of my art and all the stuff that's there. Um, anyways, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe for any more access to of all these videos and information. Thank you for listening. Have a good night, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.